That wasn't a good win. That was a great win for the Indiana Fever. Look, the Connecticut Sun are a physical basketball team. You could even say they're a bunch of hacks sometimes. And I don't even mean that necessarily in a derogatory way. There have been teams that have played that style throughout basketball history, and they're always tough to deal with, especially when they have the talent personnel that Connecticut has, like Alyssa Thomas, big and physical, like Dejanay Carrington, long and quick. And when they play that physical style, it's tough to deal with. But go back to the beginning of the year and the way the Fever looked against this Sun team, and now look at the way the Fever look against this Sun team. Look, it's impressive. It's impressive to see the growth. And Indiana is a fast-paced team, right? They like to play up tempo. They like to score the basketball. And what is the knock on teams like that? Usually, all right, let's rough them up. Let's get them out of their rhythm. They can't play playoff-style basketball. Well, the Fever showed they can play playoff-style basketball, and they are so far from the team that we saw in the beginning of the year. Some of that toughness came from Lexi Hull, to be quite frank, who goes into the lineup and really changes everything for Indiana as she, moves into that starting spot with Katie Lou Samuelson out. But look, they should never go back to Katie Lou Samuelson. I mean, if Christy Sides goes back to Katie Lou Samuelson now, she should be fired. Like, you'll get me on that bandwagon. And you see, what Lexi Hull is able to do. She made so many plays, but this was just a beautiful play, full court, one of these full court outlet passes from Clark, but that's a streaking Lexi Hull down the floor. So Lexi Hull with so many huge hustle buckets in the game, so many huge plays in the game. Kelsey Mitchell, once again, a complete and absolute demon as a scorer. And she is so fast down the floor. She is so fast down the floor. She's not afraid of any moment. She was robbed of a three in this game that probably would have sealed it for the Fever earlier in the contest. Probably would have sealed it for them earlier. And this is another example of Lexi Hull and what she brings to the table too. You see Mitchell with the quickness out to Hull. Hull gets into the paint, goes back out to Mitchell. Bucket. That's beautiful basketball right there. That's beautiful basketball. If this team can get anything consistent from the power forward spot, look out. Temi Fagbenle made some really nice plays in this one. She made some really nice plays. Melissa Smith, again, she has, like, you see it and you're like, oh, she's got these skills, but something, it just doesn't work for her a lot of the time. Her decision-making, her focus, all that stuff on the basketball court leaves a lot to be desired. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to be too hard on Alyssa in a win like that. Aaliyah Boston, another good game, but she missed the one finish that could have really changed the complexion of the game a bit. And then I love the fact also that Clark took the shot late in the game. She took the big three that rimmed out. It was right after a big driving layup. Let's give her credit for the driving layup first, because she's gotten so good as a finisher. Then she missed the three that rimmed out, and you saw her upset with herself. She was so upset with herself. She's down on the floor here, upset with herself for missing the three. So that shows you the frustration level and the competitiveness that comes from Caitlin Clark. But, she was instructed before the game, or in between the last game and this game, to take the shots by Christy Sides, who has consistently harped on that, by the way. Christy Sides has consistently harped on Caitlin Clark taking those shots. So that is a bit of good coaching from Sides to consistently ask that Clark takes the shots that she needs to take in those cases. I mean, this is what Sides said before the game in regards to that.
Yes, I love the fact that she is just a playmaker first. Like, that's where she is. I love that. But I still, we've had a lot of conversations in the last 24 hours about a lot of shots that she needs to take that she wasn't taking, especially in the fourth quarter of that Atlanta game. And she agreed, but she was kind of with her ankle a little bit, just didn't feel comfortable at times. But those are shots that she needs to take for us in that fourth quarter for us to have an.
And that ankle injury was a legitimate excuse in the last game. Clark certainly not shying away from the shots in this game. Also went to some shots that she's clearly been working on and developing in the meantime. She hit the floater in this one, which is a big growth for her in her game, a big step up in her game. Here that play is. I mean, it's what I've been begging for, asking for, is for Clark to take and hit the floaters and the mid-range shots, and you got that right here. Perfect. Because when you get into the playoff defense, they're going to try and take away what you do best, right? They're going to try and take away those threes going to her left. They're going to try and take away, you would think, those drives going to her right. Those are Caitlin's two pockets, right? Like, she likes to take the step back three going to the left, and she likes to take the hard drive going to the right, and in between, she likes to dime people up. So that would be my scouting report. If you can add that extra element, well, then you're really cooking with gas. And just one more example of where we're at from the beginning of the year to now, right? Caitlin Clark broke the rookie record, the season rookie record for three-pointers. Just another one of the records that has fallen this year for Caitlin Clark. And she did it against Dejanay Carrington. If you remember, Dejanay Carrington famously kind of locked Caitlin up at the beginning of the season. One of those welcome to the W moments. Well, this is how far Caitlin has come since then. Puts Dejanay on skates, dots her eyes right there to break the rookie record for threes. Whoop, see ya. Oh, yeah, hand down, man down, as they say, or woman down in this case, at the hands of Caitlin Clark. And this Indiana Fever team, if they can show this resiliency, if they can show this toughness, if they can play that kind of defense, if they can have that level of scrappiness where they're getting to the loose balls, Lexi Holt brings that fight in that spirit. Temi Fagbenle brings that fight in that spirit. Aaliyah Boston showed a lot of that fight and that spirit in this game. And you got LeBron and Kyrie. I mean, that's kind of what Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are right now. You got to keep those two together. I want to see this for years and years and years because it's fun to watch and it's glorious to watch. And like I've said, the playoffs, that's a lock. The question now is, how far can the Fever go in the playoffs? Because I don't see any of these teams that they should be afraid of, right? They looked even with the Lynx. The Lynx pulled away, but they looked even. They waxed the Mercury and the Storm. They beat the Sun. Fever rising. Fever rising.